Amira was a beautiful girl with a voice that could charm the birds and the beasts. She lived in a small village in the south, called Elewuro, where she was happy and free. She loved to sing and dance, and to help her aunt with the chores. Her aunt was her only family, as her parents had died when she was a 5-year-old. Her aunt had taken her in and raised her as her own. She was kind and loving, and Amina adored her. But everything changed when the war came. A powerful kingdom Ogidan from the north invaded her land, burning the crops, killing the men, and enslaving the women and children. Amira's village was one of the first to fall. She saw her friends and neighbors die in front of her eyes, and her aunt dragged away by the soldiers. She tried to run, but she was caught and thrown into a wagon with other captives. She was taken to the capital of the Ogidan kingdom, where she was sold in the slave market. She was bought by the king himself, who was fascinated by her beauty and her voice. He took her to his palace and made her his concubine. He does as he likes with her, because to him, women are just objects to be used in whatever way that pleases you. He showered her with gifts whenever he is in good spirit, and he can be brutal and cruel when his spirit is down. But Amira was not broken despite all she is going through. She hated the king for what he had done to her and her people, and for what he was doing to other lands. She hated the king for many things. She hated him so much for taking away her freedom, forcing her to share his bed, making her a slave, and selling off her dear aunt into slavery. She also hated the people of the palace, who looked down on her and treated her with contempt. They called her names and mocked her for being a beautiful slave. Some will mockingly tell her to go and die. They envied her for her position and plotted against her. They really made life miserable for her, except for one of her maid, who loved her genuinely and will not think twice to defend Amira in her little capacity. Amira had no friends or family to talk to. She is snobbed by the palace people. She only pour out her sorrow into singing and express her pains in her lyrics. She spent most of her time in her room or on the balcony, where she could see the sky and the stars. She sang to herself, to soothe her pain and to remember her past. She sang songs of her homeland, of her people, of her dreams. She did not know that her voice had a special power, a power that could heal the sick and the wounded, and even bring the dead back to life. A power that came from her ancestors, but has been lost for a long time. A power that was a gift from the gods. One day, a plague broke out in the kingdom. A deadly disease that spread like wildfire, killing thousands of people. The king and his court were terrified and tried to find a cure. They consulted the priests, the doctors, the magicians, but none of them could help. They prayed to the gods, but the gods did not answer. The plague reached the palace and infected many of the royalty, the nobles, and the servants. The king himself fell ill and was confined to his bed. But surprisingly, the plague didn't infect Amira and her kind maid. Out of boredom, Amira stood on her balcony and started to sing heartily. She sang songs that she had learned from her aunt, songs that were ancient and powerful, that came from the depths of her soul. She sang with all her heart and all her voice, and the unimaginable happened. The king was healed, and so the people in the place. Amira didn't know the songs were not ordinary, especially if it is sang by her. It was accidental because left for Amira, she doesn't really care if the king live or die. She would have loved him to die, so her mystery of pain can end with his life. Amira was confused while the king and his whole palace were speechless but exceptionally glad and happy. New admiration surged from them towards Amira, and they all bow in appreciation to her for their lives. Amira actually wanted the king and his nobles to die so as to end their quest of conquering the world, and to avenge her people. But she also felt a pang of pity and compassion. She saw the fear and the pain in the king's eyes, and the terrible pains the sick people were going through when they were sick and bedridden. She remembered that they were all human like her. She decided to let go of her bitterness and resentment and enjoy life and her newfound power. The cured king was so overjoyous when he opened his eyes. He looked at Amira with gratitude and awe. He hugged her, without thinking, and thanked her. He said that she had saved his life, and that he owed her everything. The king immediately announced her as his queen, and nobody raised an objection. Amira felt a mix of emotions. She was glad that she had helped him, but she was also confused and conflicted. She did not know what to feel or what to say. She did not know if she could love him or forgive him. She did not know what to do. She was not sure if his love was genuine. She did not have much time to think, because soon the news of her power and position spread throughout the palace, and then the city, and then the kingdom. Everyone wanted to see her, to hear her, or have her touch them. Everyone wanted to be healed by her. They started calling her the healing goddess. Amira was overwhelmed by the attention and the praise. She did not want any of the accolades given. She just wanted to be herself. She wanted to be free. She asked the king to let her go, to let her help her people, to let her find her aunt. She said that she is not ready to be his queen. She said she wanted to be relevant, but not to be worshipped. She desired to be true friend and source of help, but not an idol. The king was shocked, because for the first time in his life, he saw some with power and without thirst for position and recognition. This broke the king and gave him a deeper revelations to his wrong deeds. He has misjudged Amira. His presumptions about her are wrong. All he thought before was that there is nothing to Amira than her beauty and her voice. He has thought wrongly about her. Amira is very different from all women he has ever met. This reminded him so much about his mother, who is very kind and accommodating, but he lost at a very tender age to the rivalry battle of royal family at a very tender age. He had, since his mother's death, hated women and treated them as ordinary object and property, because to him all women are dubious, scheming, greedy, seductive, selfish, and full of betrayal. Amira broke his invisible wall and tore his dark mindset towards women. For the first time in his life, he saw a woman that piqued his curiosity and won his attention and desire. King Malik has just found a treasure of inestimable worth, and he is not ready to let go, or will he allow this treasure to belong to another? King Malik felt excitement, and at the same time fear, because he remembered all he had done to her, his cruelty towards her, and many terrible things he had done to her. King Malik felt pain in his innermost being, and regret was written all over his countenance, because he wished he had treated Amina differently, and that fate brought them together under a better circumstance. King Malik didn't dilly-dally. He went on to apologize to Amira. He told her how deeply sorry he is, and he believes he will live his life, apologizing for all his wrong, and he won't be able to atone for his wrong. He strongly desires Amira to forgive him. The noblemen and some of the royalty family were shocked to their bone marrows, because mighty Malik has never apologized to anyone in his life, nor feel sorry or sorrow for his actions. For them, they saw that Amira didn't only heal Malik physically, but she indeed healed him psychologically and emotionally. Amira indeed is a healing goddess sent specially to the land of Ogadan to make them whole. A new era has began, and new things are about to break forth. Subscribe to know what becomes of Amira and the mighty Malik. Did Amira forgive him? Did she find her aunt? Did Amira accept her new position? How did she use her newfound power? Stay tuned.